Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and homeschool mom of 5 and just wanted to come on here and share about reading. So, when I started homeschooling my kids, the one of the biggest fears I had, or one of the biggest struggles, was thinking about how I was going to teach my kids how to read. I had heard from other moms, homeschool moms even, that they were terrified of this, and a couple of moms that I knew had even sent their kids to public school or to a church school just so that they could learn how to read, and then they drew them out to homeschool them. But accomplishing the teaching how to read was just this huge thing, this huge hurdle. And so I was a little terrified of it to begin with. But I just wanted to come on here and encourage other moms, if you are homeschooling or you plan on homeschooling, to just kind of break it down in a very simple way of what helped me. I'm 3 for 5 now. I have 3 kids that know how to read. My 5-year-old and my 2-year-old do not know how to read yet. But it's not scary and it's not so difficult. And so I just want to encourage you. First of all, I'm a type B mom, and so very structured, organized curriculum is not a good fit for our family. So I remember ordering the All About Reading curriculum for my daughter, thinking this was going to be how I would teach her how to read. And we got it in the mail, and I'm pretty sure within the first week I had lost half of the stuff. It's a very organized curriculum, so if you're type A, you probably would love it. For me and our living situation at the time, we were in a really small apartment style space, and I just was not organized. She was 5 going on 6. I had a newborn and I had a 4 and 3-year old at the time, and so I just had a lot going on, is what I'm trying to say. But so that did not work for us. But what did work for us is we just constantly read books for fun. So I think this is huge, that you should not be bringing out books only when it's time to teach your kids how to read. If you should have books all around your house, read before bed to them, get new books every once in a while, fun books. And some moms might not like this, but I think that also your kids seeing you read for fun is huge, because then they start viewing reading as a form of entertainment. And also limiting screens. If they're constantly able to be on screens, then yeah, they're not going to want to, use their mind to learn how to read. But naturally, kids really do want to know how to read. And so also that's another thing, is that you're working with nature, not against nature, when you're teaching your kids how to read. So kids naturally have a curiosity to want to learn and grow. And you're not it's not this thing in your head where you're having to tug your kids to learn how to read. They're going to want to know what the billboards and the signs say going down the road. They're going to want to know what the words on the page say when you're reading fun books. They're going to have a natural curiosity. So you're just going to help them along the way. And so reading a ton to them and just kind of working with their curiosity. But like I said, bringing out books for entertainment, not just when you're teaching them how to read. Also, don't have this standard number or this age in your mind that your kids have to learn to read by. So if you're in public school, they expect you at the end of kindergarten to know a certain amount of words, but just know that every child is different, and you might have a child that is grasping and understanding words at age 5, but my kids, all 3 of them that have learned how to read, they didn't really hit a stride, and reading wasn't easy, natural, and just flowing until closer to age 7. And so getting the public school standard out of your head, that's great if that works, but also I care more about my kids loving to learn and loving to read than I do them having a certain amount of words accomplished by a certain age. That's not how life works. I know that that's how our public system works, but school system. But in real life, you don't have to know things by a certain age. You're just learning and growing and building and stacking knowledge on top of other knowledge. And so just take the pressure off. You don't have to live up to those standards. They're going to get it, and they're going to love it, and it's going to come really natural and easy if you just go with their learning abilities and not try to shove it. You don't want to shove grammar and phonics down their throat to the point where they are dreading it and they're crying. And great, at the end of the day, if you can say your kid can read 50 words, but if they cried through it and it's not fun, then what is that really winning? No. So you want them to love it. Also, I would just say that when you are teaching them how to read, just I don't know, take the pressure off. If they are reading and they're having trouble sounding out a word, if they take more than 3 or 5 seconds to do it, just give them the word and keep going. Like, make it like no big deal, because then they're not embarrassed or feeling like they're a failure. Like, imagine if you're reading something and every fifth word is a complete struggle for you, then by the end of the page, you feel like you just failed 15 times because you sat there just like blubbering and your mom's acting frustrated. But if you just say the word, mind or learn, um, then they can keep going, and it's fun. They're not feeling like they're like getting quizzed. They feel more like you're doing it together. And I just find that this really helps. And the more that they see the word and you say it out loud, they're going to get it. With my son, I noticed that I would have to basically do that one time, but the next time the word would come back around, he would immediately get it. And so, just being patient. And I will say that that's one thing that you need for teaching your kids how to read is patience, because it is, when they're first learning how to read, going to be a struggle to sit there and just like let them go at like snail speed. But just as long as you're patient, I would get out my embroidery and I would just do my embroidery sitting next to them. So it would kind of give me something to do, so that I didn't have like this nervous energy of just like tapping my leg, like, okay, because you want it to be fun. And yeah, anyways, also don't be particular about what you're teaching them how to read. Like, let them read anything they're interested in. If they want to read comics, or even like a newspaper, or a magazine or something like that, like, it doesn't matter, as long as they're reading words. Get them interested. We've done Bob books. We've done Dr. Seuss to help learn how to read. Yeah, anyways, just read everything. Just read everything together. If you're sitting at a doctor's office, get out a pamphlet and just, look through it. And I don't, just try to make it fun. But what I'm saying is, it's not, if I can do it, anybody can do it. First of all, you don't have to have some curriculum that's crazy in depth, and take the age limit off of it. Like I said, your kids, that might be closer to 7. Also, I know that this was something I experienced with my first, that I would have family members that would, when we would come around, almost like quiz my child, asking her if she knew how to read, starting at age like 5 or 6. And you just kind of have to ignore those people. It doesn't matter what grandma thinks. So instead of teaching your kids how to read and being like, we need to get it, because I don't want people to think I'm failing as a homeschool mom, or like my family members even to ask them and then judge me if they don't know how to read yet. Like, dismiss all of that, because eventually your kids are going to know how to read and it's going to be fine. And I kind of hate that it's this way, but it really is. That until you have a few years under your belt and like your kids are getting older, it's almost like the family members are like questioning you, or like the people around you might be questioning you, but then it's almost like you have to prove yourself, or your kids have to prove themselves. And I hate that it's that way, but it all ends up evening out in the end. And eventually people realize like your kid is doing great, they're thriving, and just don't let it get to you. I know that kindergarten, first, second grade year, especially when it's your first kid, is almost like there's eyes on you. That are you like doing what you're supposed to with your kids. So just trying to ignore that, keep doing what you're doing, using books as a form of entertainment. Make sure that you're reading something that you want to. Read some fiction books, like get into some kind of book. And it needs to be, fun and entertaining. And read some cool books at nighttime. I might do a whole video of some chapter books that we've loved in our homeschool and that have just been exciting. And so reading before bed just gets them so excited. And eventually they want to know. They want to know how to read. And so it's not pulling teeth. It's just, helping them learn something they want to know. So anyways, you can do it, and just be encouraged that it's not too difficult. It's not scary. They'll get it. And then it's so cool when you're able to just sit back and listen to your kids read to each other. And yeah, that's another thing I do with my kids, is I'll have my oldest read to my 5-year-old, and then I'll have like I'll just pair them up and ask them to read to each other, and let the younger one pick out the book for the older one to read or whatever. So anyways, I hope this encourages you, and you got this.